For any team that's building software, there's this one huge question that always comes up. Where should our applications actually live? Finding that perfect environment is a massive challenge. So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful solution called Containers as a Service, or CaaS, and see how it's completely changing the game.
It's kind of like the whole Goldilocks story, right? For years, software teams have been on this quest to find an environment that's not too restrictive and definitely not too chaotic or siloed, but one that's, just right. That perfect balance between freedom and control.
So why was this so hard? Well, the old options just didn't quite cut it. On one side, you had what's called Platform as a Service, or PaaS. Think of this as too hot. It was way too restrictive, like a locked box that just stifled any kind of flexibility. And on the other side, Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. That was too cold. It left teams feeling isolated and stuck managing way too much complexity on their own. Neither one was the perfect fit. But then, something came along that changed everything. A real breakthrough that made a new, much better way possible. The Docker container.
So what exactly is a software container? Well, think of it like this. It's a neat, totally self-contained package. It grabs an application's code and bundles it up with everything it needs to run, all its dependencies, libraries, the whole shebang, into one lightweight, portable little unit.
Honestly, the best analogy for this is a physical shipping container, right? It doesn't matter if you're shipping bananas or car parts, the container itself is a standard box. That standardization is absolutely the key. Software containers do the same thing. They create this universal format for applications that works exactly the same, everywhere, no matter what you've packed inside.
And this, right here, is how we find our just right solution. When you take the power of these containers and you combine it with a new service model, you get what we call Containers as a Service, or CaaS. CaaS is really the best of both worlds. It's an application environment that's managed and secured by the IT operations team, which they love. But it also gives developers the freedom to build and deploy their applications in a self-service way. It finally builds that bridge between what developers need and what IT needs to provide. So what's the big payoff here? What makes CaaS the ideal solution? Well, it all comes down to three huge benefits that all work together perfectly: agility, portability, and control. First up is agility. And for developers, oh man, this is a total game changer. They finally have the freedom to use whatever programming language, whatever version, whatever tool they need to get the job done. They just package it all up into a standard container and boom, they're ready to go. No more fighting with platforms that tell them what they can and can't use. Now, that agility leads directly to this next one, portability. Because the app is inside that standard container, it works the same everywhere, from a developer's laptop to a testing server all the way to production. This completely gets rid of that dreaded "but it worked on my machine" problem. It lets apps move seamlessly across any cloud or any data center. And finally, there's control. This one is absolutely crucial for IT operations. So while the developers get all their freedom, the IT team gets the tools they need to secure, monitor, and scale all the applications. They can keep performance high, make sure everything is compliant, and just generally keep the entire system stable and healthy. And this is the most important part. You don't have to choose anymore. CaaS gives you agility for developers, portability across all your environments, and control for IT, all at the same time with no compromises. It's the power of "and." Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work day to day? Let's walk through what a typical CaaS workflow looks like from start to finish. So here's the big picture. The whole process is this really simple but powerful loop. On the left, you've got your developers. On the right, your IT operations team. And connecting them right in the middle is a secure registry. The entire workflow just breaks down into three simple steps: build, ship, and run. Okay, so first step is build. This is the developer's world. They take their code, they choose their tools, and they package it all into a Docker container. They can focus purely on building the best application possible, which is exactly what you want them doing. Next up is the ship stage. Once that container is built, it gets pushed to a secure, central hub that we call a registry. You can think of it like a private warehouse for all the company's software, where these containers can be stored safely, scanned for any security issues, and then shared with the right teams. And that brings us to the final stage, run. This is where the IT operations team takes over. They pull that trusted container from the registry, and they deploy it onto their infrastructure. Doesn't matter if it's in the cloud or in their own data center. And from there, they manage it, they monitor it, and they scale the app up or down to meet demand.
At the end of the day, this isn't just a technical shift. It's a fundamental business shift. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The conversation stops being about just saving money on infrastructure. It becomes about speed. It's about how quickly you can deliver real value to your customers and accelerate your entire business.
So the question I'll leave you with is this. Is your current architecture a bottleneck holding you back, or is it an engine for acceleration? CAS really provides that powerful framework to make sure it's the latter. Thanks for joining this explainer.